I want to thank my this morning, thank my Facebook family that tuned in on this morning for the first show that we started. Again, it's No Covers talk show, straight talk, no chaser. And a good friend of mine gave me that thing a long time ago. He said, "Man, you straight up." People ask me where the name No Covers come from. I'm gonna tell you where it comes from, so I give you a background. I was writing my first book. I was trying to find a title of it. I gave a copy of it to my son, and he read it, and he said, "Dad, it's cold. This some cold stuff, that this language. It's cold hearted here." And I said, "Wow, like no covers." So he said, "Yeah, like he says, cold like not having covers at night. It's cold." And so we came up with the title with No Covers, and it people get some kind of wrong connotation to it, but it's simply, I'm gonna talk straight. I'm not gonna cover up anything. I'm gonna tell it like it is. That's been who I have been for years, and I try to stay that way. Young boys call it keeping it real today. So that's what I try to do. But again, back to that transportation issue. I want you to take a look at that. And the second issue I want you to take a look at is the opiate issue. The opiate issue on this election, because that question was on these interviews. The other question that I saw was, what is your opinion of the opiate epidemic? That's the first question it asked. So I want you to go and read, again, pull up the Wilmington City Council candidates. If you Google Wilmington City Council candidates, you're going to come up with these articles. It's all of them listed in the same group, 9 interviews that they did, and all of them were asked the same question. They didn't know what the other one said. They were asked the same question, and they printed their responses. That's how so this is not, these questions were not like sitting on a panel and it's a interview where, okay, this person says what they said and you're going to piggyback off what they said. No, I'm going to ask you directly, not knowing what the other person would ask. I'm going to ask you these set of questions and you give me back your answer. That way I can see what a person's thinking or see what their campaign is thinking at least. So the question was, what was your opinion of the opiate crisis? That was the first question. Then it asked how city leaders can address the issue. How can city leaders not only address the issue because it has been talked about and linked, but take some sort of action against the crisis? So there was 2 questions. The first question was, what was your opinion of the opiate crisis? And then how can we take some leadership, or how can we solve the problem, or how can we put some energy and some muscle behind the problem? So what I'm gonna do is give you my opinion, because that was the first question. However, I'm not running, but I'm gonna give you my opinion of the opiate crisis. And this is opinion that you can Google and find out. And this is opinion that many people shy away from, but it's a truthful opinion and it has some facts and validity behind it. All you have to do is Google opiate crisis versus crack cocaine crisis, and you will have some legitimate argument on what I'm about to say. The opiate crisis in Wilmington is at an all-time high. I know this because I work in the field. Being able to work with people coming out of prison and being able to work with substance abuse, I know that we have a problem with opiates in the city. We have a strong problem with opiates in the city. We have a dangerous problem with opiates in the city. So I don't mean to make little of it. There's a crisis that needs to be fixed all across the country. But if I don't say this, then my son has every right to call me a coward. He has every right to call me a sellout. If I don't. So the opinion was, what is your opinion? I was looking for someone out of the 9 candidates, especially those of color, to give me their opinion first, and then tell me how to fix it. Out of 9 city councilmen running for city council, 9 candidates running for city council, not one of them had the decency, the courage to say, my opinion is that we are now spending money on the opiate crisis when we were throwing people and locking them up and throwing away the key on the crack epidemic, the crisis that we had in the 80s. So I'd like to hear your opinion on that. I'd like to hear your opinion, 765-0097. Your opinion means much first, because that's why they asked the question of your opinion. That's how you weigh your candidate. It asked, what was your opinion on the opiate crisis? Crack cocaine was an epidemic that was ripping families apart. There are people still right now that suffer as crack babies that are still dealing with taking medication, trying to survive. People were killed during the crack epidemic. People were locked up. Families were destroyed. Inner city America was called the hood. That's where the hood comes from. We didn't start talking about the hood the way we do now until movies like New Jack City came out. When New Jack City came out, it changed the whole culture. Go back. Go back, people. Go back, community. Don't get it. Don't listen to what I'm saying. Go back and check. When New Jack City came out, the whole culture of inner city America changed. New Jack City was dealing with the crack epidemic. Nino Brown, everybody wanted to be Nino Brown. Young people didn't want to be football players and basketball players anymore. Young people wanted to be Nino Brown. Young African-American men wanted to be Nino Brown. They wanted to have a posse. They wanted to live in a mansion like Nino Brown. They wanted to have a crew like Nino Brown. They wanted to have a homeboy like Nino Brown had. Nino Brown came from the crack epidemic. The fancy cars, the hustlers, going to the club and buying bottles. That came from the crack epidemic. That epidemic changed the whole culture of inner city America. So when people ask me about the opiate crisis, I can't address the opiate crisis without first pointing out the truth. That now that the opiate crisis has affected suburban America, now it has affected the other side of the street. Now it has affected influential neighborhoods and infected senators' children and congressmen's children and governors' children and presidents' children. Now that it has affected the rich working class, now that it has affected the children on Wall Street, now it's a crisis that we want to funnel tons of money into. But when the crack crisis was affecting the inner cities, destroying families, warfare going on the street, the gang problem that we're still dealing with right here in this city of Wilmington, North Carolina, where we just talked about gangs every other month, was a result of the crack epidemic. That crisis there was a direct result. The Crips and the Blood, the gangs out of LA, Ricky Ross. You go ask any young person in inner city America, ask them, who is Freeway Ricky Ross? They know Ricky Ross the entertainer, the rapper, but they also know who Freeway Ricky Ross is. Involved with the Contras and Oliver North. They know that Ricky Ross because he's a direct descendant of the crack epidemic. So when I'm asked my opinion, even though I work in the field, even though my job may benefit from some of the money that's coming down on the opiate crisis, I have to say it. At every table, I have to say it. I have to remind those that are issuing the money that when this problem was a problem in inner city of America with crack, we didn't pay it the time of the day, but now it becomes a major issue. Now, let's go to how to solve the problem. I got to get that out of the way. You should want to get that out of the way. Every chance they ask you the question about this opiate crisis, we as a community have to bring that to the forefront so that it never happens to our community again. That an issue that's plaguing our community is pushed to the side and not given the respect and given the financial money and the cure that it needs. We have to make sure that every chance we get, we put that out there so that it never happens again. And then we have to, with logic and with reason and compassion, say, yes, there is a crisis that needs to be addressed. The opiate crisis here is a problem. Heroin addiction is high. Pills are being popped all day long. Prescription medication, it is a major concern for this city. It is costing the taxpayers tons of money, but it continues. I think we have to, I know because I've seen it firsthand. We have to attack this problem from a medical model, but we also have to attack this problem from two models. And this is where I'm going to get into substance abuse versus mental health, because we deal with this gentleman who's a mental health patient. Substance abuse and mental health go hand in hand. And I'm not talking to you about something that I don't know. I'm talking about something that I live, because as a mental health professional for most of my life, I can address this subject clearly. Right now, we are funding and we are supporting and we are trying to create avenues to fix substance abuse. 20 years ago in this city, we was focused on mental health. The reason why I know, because I built a $1 million company serving mental health. When I said $1 million, because of the number of group homes that I had and owned, and will be able to provide a quality service. Even though you gave me the money, I provided quality of service for thousands without. So providing a quality service in mental health, I understand how this issue works. Every so often we circle in funding. Right now in substance abuse. 20 years from now, you'll be back to mental health again. And let me, for you all let me give you non-medical, let me explain to you how this works. When a doctor diagnoses someone, he has two different ways of diagnosing. He has an axis 1 and he has an axis 2. Let's say I go to the doctor and I'm depressed, but I'm also going to the doctor and I have an opiate problem. Now follow me clearly now. I have major depression and I also have an opiate problem. A doctor on axis 1 can have me say I have a substance abuse disorder. That substance abuse disorder goes on my axis 1. And on axis 2, he can say the substance abuse disorder caused me to be depressed. However, let's say that my depression didn't come from the opiate. My depression came because I lost a family member at age 6 or age 7, or I had a traumatic event in my life. That traumatic event sometimes go untreated. What's treated is the substance abuse disorder because it's on axis number 1. It depends on which way the funding is. So right now we have a lot of people that are being treated for substance abuse disorders, when in actuality, the real treatment should go to what caused them to go to the substance in the first place. What caused them to have the desire to go on crack in the first place? What traumatic event happened in their life that's not getting treated because opiate is getting paid? When is the last time you've seen major group homes in this city? When is the last time you've seen major mental health opportunities in this city? If you want to understand and fix the opiate problem, you have to go and figure out how this thing works medically. Because if you notice, we crime big money for opiate, but we destroyed our mental health system 20 years ago. I was a part of it. I know. I lost my company. So we're not fixing it dually. We're pumping tons of money right now on the opiates, but a lot of the money that we're pumping could stop on the opiate and be shared and pumped over into mental health, because a lot of people are going to opiates because they have mental health disorders and mental health disabilities that's causing problems. So let's go back to what we had this morning in Texas. They said the man has a mental illness. More likely he might. More likely the man in LA had mental illness. I am seeing patient after patient in this city, and I'm not talking about anything I don't know. I am seeing patient after patient being discharged from the jail who had a mental health disability. Why? Because I said 20 years ago, we destroyed the mental health system in the city. We rewrote it. We got rid of the good providers and brought in corporate providers. I'm going to say that again. I'm not talking about what I don't know. We got rid of good providers and brought in corporate providers who provide the service for mental health. They wiped out your good providers. What happened to those people who got caught in the lapse? A lot of them ended up breaking into cars, stealing, going on drugs because they didn't get the proper mental health medication that they need, so they go get this street medication that they need. If I got a mental illness and I can't fix it with what I need mentally and don't have the insurance or lose Medicare or can't get the proper medical, I'm gonna get enough money by breaking into your car and going to get the street medication that's trying to fix the depression or the bipolar or the schizophrenic that I have, because you didn't treat that, and now I'm sitting here on opiates. If you take a close look at what I'm saying, if you study what I'm saying, you'll find out it's not emotional, but it's factual. I've lived this for 20 years. The opiate, if we just throw a ton of money on the opiate crisis and not deal with the underlying factors that cause the person to go to the drug first, if we just put a mental health, a substance abuse diagnosis on them, because remember, those of us that might have Medicaid or Medicare, remember, you get paid on Axis 1. You don't get paid on Axis 2. So if I'm on Axis 1 and we're putting out there on Axis 1 that the person has a substance abuse disorder, however, with mild signs of bipolar, with mild signs of depression, when that wasn't their disorder from the first place. They had a bipolar disorder 20 years ago that didn't get treated anymore, and now they become the person who's knocking out your car window or breaking into your house, getting some money because they're trying to go to the street to get street drugs to fix a problem that we can fix dually. We have to attack this opiate. And again, go on politicians. When I'm basing my opinion on what the politician, I'm trying to find the politician who addresses it that way, who's done the research and understand that you can't fight opiates and not fight mental health, because the two go hand in hand. And if you depleted one fund of money and now you're putting all the money into opiate crisis, but you're not dealing with the mental health crisis that's sitting in this country every day, because in this city we destroyed it 20 years ago. If we don't deal with that crisis, we're going to put the money in the opiate crisis, and all it's going to do is continue to circle back around. And we've never dealt with the real problem of healing the individual and getting them the proper care that they need. I'm about proper care. I'm about getting the person cured. 765-0097, 910-765-0097. I'll be back out in a few minutes to close the hour out.
And this is what I go over. No, this is what I'm saying. When you, I'm asking you a question. Let me ask you one question. When you die, who gonna be standing up for you? When you leave, who gonna stand for you? In other words, my point is, every man is going to stand for himself. God is for the world, not you. You know what I mean? They shite and scroll about it. I talked to the other day, but everything right. But I ain't going to stop. They made me in 2 weeks. I'll be there to win it. So what I'm going to turn that down. Well, who ain't turning the money down? I ain't turning that down. Okay, I'm going to finish what you're saying. What they got to do? No. Man, if I want to work, man, I can work every Sunday, Doc. Every Sunday last month. Every Sunday last month. I do take 1 day. Because I took, you don't have to put out last month.
You're back listening to No Covers, Straight Talk, No Chaser. I want to thank my Facebook audience for tuning in this morning. For all you listeners, it's my first day with a full show by myself. I want to show you how this format's going to work over the next couple of years. So I plan on being here a good little while, a long while. I have a heart for this. I've been on one, always wanted to do talk radio. No Covers is going to bring guests in. We're going to bring we're going to have some fun here. Again, I just want to thank Pastor Utley here at the station for allowing me to do the show, to come on and try to put my talents to work on what I do. And we're going to have a good time. I want you to tune in Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays for right now, 8 to 10 every day. I'm going to keep putting the number out on my page, 765-0097. I want to talk to the community some mornings. I want you to call in and be able to talk and share your opinions. Feel free to welcome the show. You want to be a guest on the show, you can contact me on my page, inbox me, find me. I'm working with the Facebook Live. I'm going to keep it on for now, but I want you to start tuning into the show on WLTT 1180 a.m. And tune into the radio station. It's a very, very good radio station. Old but good in music. I've got it locked in. Had it locked in before. Tune in to the radio station as well. But most of the time, you will continue to be able to get me on Facebook Live, and I keep up with both audiences because we're in the media network now, and so we got to be able to do that. In closing, I want to go back and review. Someone got a little message. They said they missed part of what I said this morning and heard it was interesting, so would I repeat it? And so I want to take the last 10 minutes to go back over it again. If you didn't hear what I talked about this morning, it was concerning the events here in Texas. And I want to go back in the last few minutes I have and talk about that again and why I am pushing for regulation. I'm not trying to take your guns away from you. I'm not, you panic buttons, no. You and conservatives that I know you from the party, no. I'm not trying to take your guns away, but I am trying to regulate. And here is the reason why I gave you that this morning. Here's the reason why I said, and here is what I came up with on my own study. And again, once again, I want to say, send your prayers out to those families in Texas. They need it right now. They need that hug. They need us spread around them. And we really don't. I don't want to make the issue political, but for the president of the United States to say it's not about guns, yes, it is about mental health. Yes, it may be about a man's not happy. He may be mad at somebody. It may have been that he has a mental disorder. It may have been that he's just poor broke. And maybe he was mad at the military. I don't know. But I do know it's about guns as well. It's about all of those issues wrapped into one. It's about a gun because he didn't use a slingshot, he used a gun. And so if he hadn't used a gun, we wouldn't be having this conversation. So like I said this morning, I did my research last night. And I wanted to know how many cigarettes were sold last year because cigarettes can kill you. Tobacco can kill you. That's why they regulated on the back and say, Surgeon General, warning, this can cause cancer because they wanted to know that it can kill you. So I did my research and I Googled. I wanted to know how many cigarettes were sold last year. 258 billion. I got that number in a matter of seconds. But 258 billion cigarettes sold in 2016 in the United States of America. Why? Because it's regulated. Why? Because they keep up with the sales. Why? Because they make the cigarettes company tell you how many packs did they sell and where did they go to and what cities they went to most. They can actually give you the data and tell you which city bought the most cigarettes last year. Liquor sales, 223 billion. How do I know that? Because liquor sales are regulated. They put a government stamp on the bottle. They want to know how, and they got to tax you. They want their tax money. So because the government wants to get its tax money, it's going to tell the liquor industry, you owe us this much money in tax because you sold these many bottles of liquor. Why? Because we keep a track of how many bottles of liquor you sell. We regulate it. We're going to track it. And in your car right now, there's a VIN number. On every car, liquor kills, cigarette kills, and cars kill. The last gentleman used a car out in New York to hit people. But that car had a VIN number. And I can research that VIN number and tell you exactly what car lot that car came from. I can research and tell you what company built that car and when they built that car and what year they built that car. Matter of fact, I can go on the factory line and do their research and tell you who was part of putting the car together because it has a VIN number on it. And even your car sitting in your household right now, the government, if they want to, that's how they find these people, can take that VIN number, track it to the company that they sold the car to, and then track who owns the car and say, you, that would mean you own that car right there. Why? Because we got your VIN number. Why? Because we regulate it and we control it and we can track it. Yet this morning and last night, when I pulled up how many guns are sold in America, the FBI cannot give me any data. I'll say that again. When I pulled up the data and asked how many guns were sold in America, the FBI could not tell me how many. The only thing they could tell me was how many applications were applied for to get a permit. That's the only thing they could tell me. They could give me the applications, but they could not tell me how many guns was manufactured because they don't track them. They don't keep up with who has them. It's willy-nilly. And that is why a man was able to walk into a gun store with a felony and fill out an application and lie on it and send it in and get an assault rifle. A person who was court-martialed from the military because it was not regulated. I'm not trying to take them away. I'm not trying to take them away. I'm just simply trying to get us to think. If I can track cigarettes and tell you 258 billion cigarettes were sold, if I can track liquor and tell you 223 billion bottles of liquor were sold, if I can track car sales and tell you 7.1 million cars were sold in America, I should be able to tell you who owns the guns and whoever got them. And when they started going rampage crazy, I should be able to come take them back. Simple as that. It's simple as that. And if anyone, including the President of the United States, can argue with my reason and show me where we cannot have, we're not supposed to have that data, and they're not fit to be American. They're not fit to be the President of the United States. And they're not fit to have my vote at all. I want to thank you all for listening and tuning in today on No Covers. I want you to have even though it's a sad day, I want you to, get yourself together, get upbeat. I want you to have a good day. Find something meaningful in life. A sister sent me a quote this weekend that I wanted to share. And it was something that someone said, I forget her name, but she said, you are not allowed to leave your dreams on your pillow and go out and live someone else's. God hit me. You are not allowed to leave your dreams on your pillow and go out and make somebody else's dream. So I just want to thank you for listening today, because I'm living my dream right now. I'm living something I always wanted to do. Books are coming out soon. I got a message from my brother last night, Nick Wooten, down there in Newport News, Virginia. I want to shout out to him and thank him. He gave me a nice message on my book last night. And yes, sir, I'm going to go deeper. Before I release it, I will go deeper. He got on me. That's my big brother is my critic. That's who I go to. You got to go to somebody and check. And he critiques me. And I value his critique because I look up to my brother. So he's my critique. And so if he go left, I go left. If he say go right, so right. Sometimes, not all the time. He know I go left and bump my head. He know I go right and bump my head. But I'm going to ask. And I'll get critique from somebody. So again, you are not allowed to leave your dreams on your pillow and go follow someone else's and go build somebody else's dream. You got to live your dream. You got to build your dream. And you got to keep on. As we say on No Covers, you all know the saying. What I say? I said keep running. So with that, we're signing off today. We'll be back on Wednesday, 8 to 10 here at WLTT 1180. And I'll see you on Wednesday morning, 8 o'clock bright and early.
Blackout Friday is all happening Friday and Saturday, November 24th and 25th, 1890 Dawson Street. CLI Radio presents the North Carolina Black Business Directory's Blackout Friday weekend event. Shopping, food, music, and more. 9 a.m. until everything is gone. It's going down Friday and Saturday, November 24th and 25th. For more information, call 910-547-6674. For vendor info, RSVP at Rejoice at GospelJoy1490.net. Our 16 vendors receive free ad space for the event. It's the North Carolina's Black Business Directory Blackout